Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa from Ripple, and here we have Meghna from Harmony House. So, in a nutshell, Meghna, would you like introduce yourself and your organization?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Meg. I work for an organization called Harmony House in Gurgaon. We are located where we've taken up 2 villas we've converted them into centers for children and women, where we provide them with education, with nutrition meals. We provide them with basic medical care and skill training. So that's what we do at Harmony House. And okay, I think I'll leave it to that.
Okay, okay, yeah. I mean that's great, the kind of work that you engage in, but you could also share like what encouraged or triggered your team to really start the organization. How did Harmony House come into being?
So basically, the founders of Harmony House is this lady called Lucy. She's a British, settled in Dubai, and she's married to an Indian national, Gaurav. So they are basically, now Lucy used to come to India because Gaurav's family is here. They used to visit very often, and she used to help a lot of organizations here. And her friends used to support her in that endeavor. So that's what she was doing. Slowly, she realized that because she was giving away so many of the funds, there is a feel responsible to ensure that is going to correct judiciously. So that's when she decided that let me open something of my own, so that at least I can, tomorrow if somebody comes across, okay, what are we doing, we have an answer. Transparent organization, with many members, too many layers and too many there are no expenses like going here and there, business class. So all of those things don't closely monitored, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
For the transparency we started, we didn't support from every. So when we started, we had taken up one house, just taken the ground floor because we weren't even sure that we will need more. We had to take the top floor, all the different rooms in that particular space, and we took the other house. So in about 500 kids is what we had, which we are caring for now also, over 500 children. So it's been it's been quite incredible.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it really does make sense that that your founders, like, they wanted to like really help people out, and they wanted the organization to be transparent. But you would have had like journey, I mean, struggles or some experiences where you had to like overcome something. So anyway, like, what kind of learnings or what surprises that you have like during your entire journey?
Every day you learn really. You can't plan for anything. That is one thing we've learned. You can't plan for anything. Whatever you plan for, you end up, it just doesn't happen that way. So you need to have an open mind. You need to be able to adapt to a situation. So when we started, okay, let's open a home for girls. And slowly we realized that, why only for girls? So the cook that we hired, she had a little boy. She's like, okay, when am I going to leave him when I come work? That does make sense. You can't have it only for girls because there are little boys also who need our help. So from a girls only, we became a co-ed. We said, okay, we're and staff and everything, giving them their meals and everything. And we realized that, okay, apart from education, they need money. They need, because a lot of the children, they are not allowed to attend because assistance. You've seen, you live here in India, so you see these small little children, they're sweeping and mopping and washing dishes. Then that's what pushed us to start our vocational training classes, that at least by the time they reach a certain age where they work, let's equip them with a skill. So we're doing stitch. We have a beautician. Instead of going and working as domestic help, they can probably work in a beauty parlor or, you know, go work in a factory. So just trying to up them up a little as much as. So we keep adding to our courses. We're doing IT, do a little bit of coding. You just have to keep learning and adapt. COVID in itself is such a big learning experience for everybody.
Yeah.
So how resilient everybody is. You just have to adapt to the current, whatever thing we would be doing. And imagine with children, that addition of not having this technology. The initial parents were home, everyone had their data and everything. After 2 months, changed because some people started going hours of work. So then that didn't have money to top up, you know. So we realized something. So we got some tablets. We got for buying tablets, and we sent those in the slum. And so, you know, a group of 4-5 kids would be given one, and they could have their classes. Then we realized, okay, now there's so many children. We picked up a small, like a 3 area in the slum. It's they are allowed to attend our center because it's, of course, it's against the rules. But some area they're all in the evening. So big outdoor thing. And the 3 rooms we've converted into classes where children go in batches of 4 or 5. They have their online classes, come out, they have the snack. Again, like I said, you just have to keep adapting. You see what just they are facing, how best you can serve them. You can't, you know, think in a change the way you function. So
yeah, I mean, I think what you're doing is great because, you know, you're like really providing them with the vocational skills. And I think for any organization, it's with the current situation, you really need to like learn to adapt because, you know, not like as you said earlier, you know, you can't plan anything. Like everything just keeps changing. So yeah. Anyways,
the goal is the same. How you reach that goal, you have to keep maneuvering from here to there.
Yeah. So you know, as your journey, like there would be like some myths or, you know, stereotypes, you know, associated around your cause, and what like the cause that you work with, and what are they, and what's the actual reality?
So there is a perception, and I have got quite a few times from many people, even local, the community we serve, according to many, they are not really poor. They don't need our help. The people who need our help is in the villages, the rural and stuff, which I agree they are help. But the community here, slums also, they are not if 5 and one working member, one earning member who's earning say 6, 7, 8, even 8, or even if say fine, they're paying for their rent 3 or 4, right? They have to provide food for family. So that earning a 10 not is who need your help. Community we serve, their auto rickshaw wala, you know, domestic helps. The day they don't go to work, their pay is cut. So where are they going to eat food from? You know, it's not like they have their challenges. For so many months, the lockdown was there. We were sending ration packs, which was a huge, and we are still doing that since last March. It's still on. Despite of that aid, they have other expenses. They have to buy gas, they have to buy vegetables, you know, there are things which their rent is accumulated. Landlords are not going to let go of that, right? They might delay it, they might take it in a staggered way, but to come over that debt that they've already collected, it's huge. And now with the second wave again, so the moment they had a bit of respite, again you go back. So it's wherever you look, you know, if you look closely, you will realize.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it has been like a really it's been difficult times, and like you said, people seemed like just when things seemed okay, the next wave hit. So it's all a little confusing
Even
for everyone.
like
Yeah.
in April only last month. So there were so many slums in Gurgaon. There were like shanties and shanties which got burned down because they're all illegal wiring and not properly done. So there were, I think, 4 or 5 slums which burnt like in the middle of the night. And what do? You just pick up your kids, you pick nothing. So they we try to do our bit. We try to, apart from the community that we serve, our children, their families, we try, like when we heard of these fires, we sent 8 packs there. We've sent, material for them to make. One should need to have an open
My
and
yeah. So yeah. So what is it? What is the kind of question, or what do you want to leave the next generation? Um, what kind of insight would you like to give, like our generation, or the next generation?
see, already like it's incredible. We have children volunteer with us, like
Okay. Yeah.
olds, 9-year-old for us, young in age, which is, it's just so incredible and inspiring. And there is we have faith. There's now, there's so much awareness. They're teaching their children the importance. What we need to do is be more aware. In discomfort, we should not close eyes and walk away. Like, even if it's not financially, it just, there is 100 ways to help. So should that you can help.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, there are like 100 ways. So at least those 5 to 10 ways, we should try it and
Not
strive.
financial. It doesn't have to be financial. It's
Mhm.
not about money. It's just you need to have some empathy, be compassionate.
Yeah. 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 So I think like the last question would be like, how can the public help you, like your organization?
Again, like I said, be aware, be compassionate, try to help people around, and try to, everybody doesn't have the resources, but you have the knowledge, you have the contacts. There are so many things that you can help. Not my NGO, but there's so many NGOs, so the time to work. It doesn't, you can connect people, if you're working, for example, in a company, you can connect somebody, some link might work out somewhere. Everybody has the power to make a change. That is something I believe in. You just have to have the patience. You knock on 10 doors, one will definitely open, but have the patience to go till the door. Don't give up after trying once or twice.
Yeah. 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 I think that's a really, impactful kind of message that you're really giving out there.
We experience it day in and day out.
Yeah. So yeah, the kind of experience that you've had and the kind of stories that you've told, is really inspiring. And I really hope it's, inspiring for our viewers too. And they also, like how you said, being compassionate, being kind, being really aware, I really hope that after watching this, they would be more aware about everything going on around us and want, to help out people in some or the other way.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, for
Thank you. Thank
coming.
you for this opportunity. I know. So again, like we are not an organization. We don't spend on advertising and marketing because our focus is literally it's our children and our families. So that's all the only people know about us is word of mouth. It's all organic, nothing else. So this platform does give us that opportunity. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.